So, very good evening to all of you. Today is the second day of lecture for neural control and coordination. In our previous class, we have seen different things like why we require a thing called neural control and coordination. What are the functions performed by different kind of parts of our neural system, the detailed structure of neuron, types of neuron, then next very important thing we discussed is generation and conduction of nerve impulse. We learned that nerve impulse is generated and conducted in three main steps. First of all, it was discussed that it can be done by two means. One chemical and other one is physical. That is electrical. So chemical means of conduction is occurring in synapse, which is the junction between two neurons. Okay, and electrical means is used for transmission of impulse from one end of the neuron to the other end of the neuron. So these are the steps we discussed, all of them in detail. Have you gone through this thing? I want all of you to have a look into this specific concept mentioned in your textbook, and please let me know, because I want to all of you to read line to line. Why? Because there are words which may be confusing and you can get confused. So I'll wait for you for 5 minutes. I request all of you to take out your textbook and read that part. So once all of you confirm that you don't have any doubt in neural control and coordination, part where conduction of impulse is discussed, we will move ahead towards the description of human nervous system. How our nervous system look and how it works. Which part is responsible for which function. As a human being, in our day, we do 1,000 things, isn't it? We sometimes sing, we sometimes dance, we laugh. Whenever we feel thirsty, we drink water. We think about old things, we cry. So all these are related to the nervous system, isn't it? So you can understand in your brain, there is no compartment. If I take out brain from a healthy human being, it's not written there कि okay, this much part उसके ऊपर level लगा हुआ है कि is responsible for hearing. No such thing is there. But internally there is bifurcation for activities. For example, in a specific part of brain, the cells present over there are actually responsible for making us hear clearly. If a person is having a perfectly all right ear but no brain, then the person cannot hear anything. You know, we talk about coma. Sometimes we should not joke on certain things, but we can write it as a comma also. Because comma means you, in sentence we put comma, na? Alpa viram jise hum bolte. So this is kind of alpa viram, when you are living but you are not living, because you are not responding to the stimulus. And full stop means okay. So obviously, as so many things are tackled by this area only of our body, so you can understand the complexity of the brain. And till date, if we see the mystery of brain, how memory is stored in brain, 100% we don't. We seriously don't know why certain child is very intelligent and what makes a child dull. Although I believe no one is dull, it's only matter of interest. I have seen children who are not studying, they are excellent in some other activity. Okay. So let us have a look into human neural system. So our nervous system can be subdivided into two types. One is central nervous system, which is made up of brain and spinal cord. Why it is called central nervous system? Why central? Because they are actually CPU of our body. The way in computer there is CPU, that is central processing unit. This part is actually deciding everything. So that's why we call them central nervous system. Second is peripheral neural system or PNS or peripheral nervous system, which can be further subdivided into somatic neural system and autonomous neural system. So I told you, can anyone tell me why we require two types of nervous system? Somatic, that is under our control, and autonomous, that is not controlled directly by our wish. Why we require two types? क्या फर्क पड़ता अगर पेरिस्टालसिस भी मैं कंट्रोल कर पाती, हार्ट की बीटिंग भी मैं कंट्रोल कर पाती? What would have been the problem? हमेशा मुझे सोचना पड़ता, पढ़ाते पढ़ाते लंग्स को बोलना पड़ता, तुम एक्सपैंड हो, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो, डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम को बोलना पड़ता था, which will not be make us able to work. हम पूरा दिन वही सोचते रहे. But God spared us with this benefit that we have autonomic nervous system. They control the things without our wish. They do it by some automatic feedback mechanism. When we run, there is a feedback mechanism which will tell our pacemaker that you increase the pace or heartbeat of the heart, so that maximum oxygen can be supplied. Okay, so let us know about it one by one. We will first talk about brain. So brain, as it is the CPU, we need to protect it. How it is protected? First of all, it is protected by the cranium. How many cranial bones we have? 20. Good. So cranial bones from here. Frontal, parietal, frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, sphenoid or ethmoid. So apart from that, we have three bones in here. So these bones are making a thin covering which is protecting the brain present inside. Okay, but it's not enough. We have another protective covering which is called meninges. The way when I taught you about respiratory system, I told you, you must have also told in grade 11. The covering of lungs is very good. For kidney, it is peritoneum. For heart, it is pericardium. Here we have meninges. Okay. The outer meninges can be further subdivided into three layers: dura mater, arachnoid matter, and pia matter. So why we require three layers? The dura mater, the name is coming from the word durability. So this dura mater is always sticking together with the cranium. Okay, it is a layer formed inside cranium which is protecting brain, and it is full of fibrous cells or tissue as well as full of blood vessels. So vascular and fibrous structure is there, presence in abundant in case of dura mater, and that's why it is responsible for its durability. The second layer is known as arachnoid matter. Can anyone tell me, have you ever heard about this arachno or arachnoid word? where I myself quoted to all of you. Very correct. So spiders are falling under, spiders are called arachnids. The way the uh, out of the arthropods in invertebrates, you have arthropods can be further subdivided into insecta, crustacea, and arachnids. So arachnids are basically makdi, that is spider. So why this middle part is called arachnoid matter? Because if you look into the cross section of this part, it will look like mosquito net. That's why it is called arachnoid matter. Okay. And the inner part is called pia matter because it is the software part which is most in contact with the brain. In between this arachnoid matter and pia matter, there is a liquid present which is called CSF or cerebrospinal fluid. This cerebrospinal fluid is something which is present in brain as well as in spinal cord, and it is doing multiple activities. First of all, liquids can be very good shock absorber. So it's a shock absorber. Second thing is it is making sure that the parts are moistened. Third thing, it is providing the required nutrition to the part of CNS. So as it is present with brain as well as spinal cord, that's why brain, the good name of brain is cerebro. So you must have heard about this word. X-Men, there is Dr. Cerebro, there was a machine. So cerebrum is a part of brain. So cerebrospinal fluid is known by this. So can you tell me what is the weight of a brain, average brain? Huh? 1 to 5. Yes. That means 1 to 50 what? Whenever you are saying it, you should remember the unit. It is 1200 to 1400 grams. And brain has almost 100 million neurons. So you can understand how intricate structure it is. Okay. So we will get back and look into the parts of brain. So cerebro, CEREBRO. It must be there in your text. And I will share the PPT. So the brain is divided into 3 parts. The forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Now, we know that people get confused because always when we talk about forehead. It is present. This concept is not related to that. Fore means which is near me first. So forebrain is the part or the layer of brain from top to bottom. If you see the layer which is present at the upper side is called forebrain. In this case, you can see it is marked in yellow, and it is covering the midbrain completely. एक बड़े बॉल के अंदर एक छोटा बॉल अगर आप रख दो, वैसे ही फोर ब्रेन के अंदर मिड ब्रेन रहता है. And hindbrain, some part is inside forebrain and some part is extending out because it is the continuation of spinal cord. So first I want you people to have a close look into this structure and confirm, because when I'm going to teach you, you should be able to visualize and understand the position. Clear? The good name of forebrain is prosencephalon, midbrain mesencephalon, and hindbrain is rhombencephalon. So encephalon is known as brain. Why? I taught you about encephalitis. Japanese encephalitis, a viral disease. Itis means inflammation. So that is inflammation in encephalon. That means in brain. So so what is the part of forebrain? Forebrain, as you can clearly see in this picture, the forebrain is the major part of brain. If I open the cranial cavity, the most important part that we can see is forebrain. So as it is the major part, we will know about each part and its function. So out of forebrain, the most prominent part of forebrain is known as cerebrum. It is known as cerebrum. Now, हम जैसे मिडल में पार्टिंग करते हैं ना, उसके बरोबर एक लाइन है, and this cerebrum can be divided into two parts like this: left cerebral hemisphere and right cerebral hemisphere. Why we call it hemisphere? Because if we consider this whole cerebrum as a sphere, half part of it will be hemisphere. Okay. Apart from cerebrum, there is diencephalon, which is made up of thalamus and hypothalamus. So first we will talk about cerebrum. Cerebrum has two cerebral hemispheres, and there is a bundle of nerve which is connecting these two hemispheres. It is called corpus callosum. Now let me tell you a very funny thing. Our right hand is controlled by left hemisphere and left hand is controlled by right hemisphere. And if there is any problem in this corpus callosum, a person develop a very strange disease which is called alien hand syndrome. मतलब आप बैठे हुए, मैं आपको पढ़ा रही हूँ, this hand is not in my control. चाकू लेके वो शायद आयुषी को मारती है. I don't have. But you try and search about this disease. People do not have control over their hands. That's why we call it alien hand syndrome. Because the connection or the coordination is broken. It was observed, like till date, the exact reason is not that much clear. It was observed that some certain doctors made a kind of brain surgery to make people safe from epilepsy. Epilepsy होता है, पता है? पीठ आती है, लोग करके अटक जाते हैं. It's a very dangerous disease because if like you are driving and suddenly you have epileptic seizure, then God may can help you. So to avoid such problem, they made some surgery. And it was observed that those people who had surgery had this disease. So it is said that it must be having some relationship with the corpus callosum. Understood? So that is why I am just referring these things so that you always remember the importance of corpus callosum, because it is the bridge between two hemispheres. Okay. So now outer part of cerebrum is called cerebral cortex. I told you this is common. Kidney ka outer part, kidney cortex. Cerebrum ka outer part is cerebral cortex. And anyone can remember the image of brain and identify due to the depression and elevation it has. It has kind of convulsions, isn't it? Does it look nice? So it was said that these convulsions are formed of gray matter. So gray matter is part of the cell bodies of neuron, and the inner part is white matter. Why? Because it is made up of axon part of the myelinated neuron. Okay, these depressions and elevations are known as gyri and sulci. Gyri, gyri and sulci. One research proposed that more number of depression and elevation one has, more active the brain is, more memory power of the brain. Maybe because these depressions and elevations are increasing the surface area of the brain. And memory, still we don't know how it is stored in brain, but it is proposed that it is stored in chemical form. So more surface area, more memory. Although it is said that Einstein was able to use 10% of his brain. So he just put one very famous quote of Einstein. Have you know? Do you know? He said that I collected one pebble from the shore of the sea of knowledge. So how modest that person is. और हम एक चैप्टर कंप्लीट करके खुश हो जाते हैं. So most of the human being in lifetime use only 1 or 2% of their brain capacity. Okay, so in meditation, like I don't know about all these things because they don't have any scientific proof, but it is said way if you meditate you will be able to use your brain more. You must have seen certain people here one time. Listen, remember, certain people study for 3 hours. So it is all about capacity of brain concentration. Okay. So is this part clear to everyone? Gyris and sulcis. Okay. Now I wish to talk about the cerebral cortex areas. Okay. First of all, there is motor area. Second is sensory area. And third one is association area. So the function of motor area is it is controlling the function of muscles. The way I am saying, I am teaching, while teaching I am moving my hand. So this movement is controlled by motor area of my forebrain cerebrum. Okay. Second is sensory area. This is controlling the functioning of the sense organ. So sense organ is connected with the brain. That thing is controlled by this sensory area. And association area is neither motor nor sensory. It is having some intermediate function and it is mainly responsible for memory and communication. Okay. So now cerebral cortex is responsible for so many things. First of all, it is responsible for intelligence. So other than that, memory, judgment. What kind of judgment? Very good. Learning, thinking, judge, driving. You judge, no? अच्छा इतनी गैप है यहाँ से मैं निकल जाऊं. That is a kind of judgment only, no? Learning, thinking, and articulation of the speech. Certain people know so much, but they cannot speak. Controlled by cerebrum. Okay. So, can you raise your hand who has strong cerebrum? None? None of you have intelligence, memory, judgment, learning, thinking, and articulation of speech. All of you have? So Kausha is not sure, so she is just encircling her hand. So be sure, beta, all of you have. Only thing is where you are focusing them. Okay. So next we will talk about diencephalon, which is the second part of forebrain. Before we go there, I wish to say a few things about cerebrum. Cerebrum is very important part of our body. And cerebrum, although cannot be, if you take out cerebrum and you wish to see, you cannot see this bifurcation. But similar to the cranial bone, frontal, parietal, temporal, there are areas which are present in cerebrum and which is responsible for specific kind of functions. Okay, so obviously we will look into all these. First important part is frontal lobe. It is this part of cerebrum. Okay. In human, this part is responsible for imagination, memory, then it is responsible for planning. It is also responsible for all voluntary actions we take. So when I am writing a poem, the frontal part of my cerebrum is active. Then there is parietal part. Where is parietal part located? Okay. So this is controlling the sense of touch. You know, certain people like can feel very well. You must have seen certain people who are blind can feel very well. They can sense temperature, they can sense pain. All of us, in fact, can sense pain. But if I close your eyes and I give you two objects and ask you to identify, many a times we are not able to. So this part of our brain is responsible for us to understand the size, the shape, the texture, the weight. हाथ में लेके 200 ग्राम होगा, कुछ लोग ऐसे बता देते, you weigh, it may be 210 grams. They have excellent sense of weight. So I want all of you to correlate these parts with those kind of people so that you remember what are controlling what type of function. Okay, so third part is temporal lobe. So frontal, parietal, then temporal part. So it is responsible for hearing, the quality of sound, the smell, the emotion, the memory. All good singers are having this part very, very strong, because you cannot sing a song properly unless and until you cannot hear it. To sing a song, first thing you need to do is you need to hear it. My difference in the tunes, ये जो एक सेंस होता है ना, गाना सभी गाते हैं, कुछ लोग बोलते हैं कि बहुत बेसुरा गा रहे हैं. Sometimes a person sings, like sometimes sing, many times. Thanks to Facebook, we are flooded with such kind of things, where after hearing which we feel what we have done in life. So there are songs, they don't realize that they are not singing in tune. So maybe this part of their brain is not functioning properly. Next is occipital lobe. It is present here. Okay. And it is responsible for visual and auditory activities. These are the different parts. Next, I wish to talk about the limbic system. So limbic system is the fifth part of cerebrum. It is present in the cerebral hemisphere's mid part. That means it is located somewhere here. As I told you, if I take out cerebrum, there is no line drawn with marker that this is the limbic system. I am speaking. A material meaning. Okay. So this part is known as the limbic system. What is its role? It is mainly responsible for our sexual behavior, motivation that is present inside us. Like some people, if I say you are very bad in study, they get motivated. No, how can that person say? Some people are extra emotional. So that part for them, the limbic system is extra sensory, and this is done by two parts, which is known as amygdala and hippocampus. I will type them because it is very difficult for you people to pronounce them. So it is known as limbic system, which is made up of amygdala and hippocampus. Okay, so these are the parts of limbic system which is controlling all our emotions, and nowadays there is a term called emotional intelligence. Someday when you people will go for job, and especially if it is a corporate, you need to know about all this, because when someone will rate you, they will rate you on your emotional intelligence as well as normal intelligence. All kind of intelligence level will be assessed. You should be emotionally intelligent. Kind of. When so apart from that, I just wish to talk that this cerebrum is present present inside five, inside this cerebrum there will be presence of cavities of brain. We said that between the arachnoid matter and pia matter, cerebrospinal fluid is there. So from where this cerebrospinal fluid is coming? Second question is, if cerebrospinal fluid is present only outside the brain, how the inner part will get benefit of cerebrospinal fluid? They should also get benefit, no? So there are small cavities, or we call them ventricles. What are these ventricles? They are the gaps on which the cerebrum is located. They are the gaps or the cavities on which the cerebrum is located. So there are five ventricles, and the first two ventricles are just beneath the cerebrum. Third ventricle is present with diencephalon. Fourth one with midbrain, that is mesencephalon. And the last one is near the hindbrain, that is rhombencephalon. So how many ventricles? 5. 2 with cerebrum, third one with diencephalon, fourth and fifth is with midbrain and hindbrain. Okay. And there is a cavity called or a pipe which is called foramen of Monro. Through this foramen of Monro, the cerebrospinal fluid is circulating. There are these names you have to remember. Sorry. So that is all about the forebrain. Any doubts, anyone? So we will get back to the slide. Now we will talk about the cerebrum part we completed. Now we talk about the second part of forebrain, that is known as diencephalon. It is made up of thalamus and hypothalamus. So what is thalamus? It is the area around which forebrain part, that is cerebrum, is wrapping. So here can you see the structure of thalamus? I will point it out. So this is the thalamus, and just by its side is the hypothalamus. And this part is the cerebrum. Very nice diagrams you have. You can see this is the cerebrum. This is the thalamus and hypothalamus. The green part is thalamus and hypothalamus. and this brown part is the cerebrum. Is this concept clear? Now here in this picture you can see two glands. One is pituitary gland, which is connected with whom? Hypothalamus, and another is pineal gland. So we talked about sphenoid and ethmoid bones, isn't it? So sphenoid bone present in our cranial, amongst which is counted among the cranial bone, make a cavity, which that cavity is known as sella tarsica, and inside that cavity the pituitary gland is located, and pineal gland is located at this part where we draw the third eye of the body. Its function still unknown. No, don't laugh. Basically, in us, it is having function to control the biological clock. But what are the other purpose, and why on photos of all goddess we have this third eye exact at the position of pineal gland? And in Indian Yoga Shastra, it is said that, I don't know if you know about it or not, we have chakras in our body, and when all of them are under one single alignment, this will open, that is third eye will open, and we will get ultimate moksha. So all of you can try. So the thalamus is known as the coordinating center, that is the relay station. It is responsible for a relay between the motor and sensory neurons. So you know that sensory impulses are carried by sensory neuron, which is coming from sense organ. And now after processing the data in the brain will generate command which will go to the muscle via motor neuron. So there are two types of impulses present in our body. These two types are motor impulse and sensory. The coordination between them, that juggling is done by whom? The thalamus. Okay. Apart from that, if we consider about thalamus, there is hypothalamus present. Hypothalamus is a very, very important part. All grade 12 students so by now know, because all spermatogenesis and oogenesis, and rather to say every activity, thalamus has a very prominent role. So it is seen just below thalamus, and hypothalamus is responsible for control of thirst and temperature of body. So we are feeling thirsty, and that Yesha's hypothalamus is proactive. Even my hypothalamus is giving me signal, but I am controlling myself. Apart from that, we know there is one master gland in our body, that is pituitary. The pituitary is under control of hypothalamus. Who will police? Same guy. In our body, every part is under control of it. Otherwise, it is the perfect machine that we cannot prepare. Anyways, brain's part, various factors. It is controlled by feedback mechanism also. You can speak, no? For example, hypothalamus release gonadotropin releasing hormone, which will go to ovary and testes and make the secretion of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Whenever estrogen, progesterone, testosterone is in adequate amount, they will come back to hypothalamus and tell, you don't release gonadotropin releasing. So hypothalamus stops. This is called feedback mechanism. We studied, no? So everyone is having a police over there to control. So apart from this temperature regulation, which is very important factor of homeostasis, that is why we are called warm-blooded animal, isn't it? नहीं तो हम सभी crocodile होते. हंसो मत. वैसे I sometimes doubt that some of you may be crocodile. Otherwise, ma'am, girl, ठंडी लग रही है. Where is your control mechanism of temperature of body? अच्छा उतना ही है. He is wise. Good. So sometime try sitting in the warm control condition like sunlight. You may feel some friendship with crocodile, isn't it? So regulation of temperature and thirst control, although it finds you may find कि मैम इसमें क्या है, प्यास लगी है, but ultimately the sensation of thirst is regulating the osmotic balance of our body. Because when we are feeling thirsty, we will understood, clear, okay. So it will control, other than that, it will control hunger, it will control emotions. Apart from that, it will control the sleep. Our sleep wake cycle is controlled by hypothalamus. Blood pressure, heart rate, everything is controlled by them. उसको किसी को बताना नहीं पड़ेगा. It generate, but it should be under control of brain, no beta. Okay. So it's mentioned here about amygdala, hippocampus, hypothalamus, and limbic system is also mentioned here. We already talked about them. So I want all of you to have a look into your textbook and let me know if you have any doubt in this part. A few additional parts about forebrain. Apart from this cerebrum and diencephalon, which is made up of thalamus, hypothalamus, a few very extra things I wish to talk. This will be asked, maybe asked in NEET examination. So for NEET level, you need to have this knowledge. Apart from these things, a few extra things you should know. First of all, there is presence of olfactory lobe. Okay, so this olfactory lobe is club shaped. Club, cards, club. Okay, so it is club shaped, and these clubs are distinguished, they are separated from each other. And if you look at brain from bottom side, then only you can see them. Why? Because generally they are covered by cerebrum. In fact, if you see brain from the top side, you will be seeing only cerebrum, nothing other than that you can see. Okay, now what is their role? As their name is suggesting, they are helpful for smelling. Apart from that, I wish to add another thing, that is about epithalamus. Other than hypothalamus and thalamus, there is a very small part of diencephalon which is barely indistinguishable. आपको देख के लगेगा ही नहीं. Which is present, that is called epithalamus. It is present at the roof of the third ventricle. I told you two ventricles are near the cerebrum. Third one, the third ventricle is around diencephalon. So the roof of third ventricle has epithalamus. So it is basically the area with which the pineal gland is attached with a stalk. एक छोटी सी डंडी होती है जिससे pineal gland उस part में attach होता है. Okay, and it is full of blood vessels. If you see, the amount of nervous tissue present in this part is less, but the blood vessels are more. That's why in most of the books it is not mentioned as a part of nervous system. So it has a very important factor. This epithalamus is holding pineal gland, which is responsible for secretion of a hormone melatonin. Now, the role of melatonin hormone doesn't have that much significance in us, but in animals, they are responsible for deciding the color of the animal. For us, it is not that significance, but for other animals, it is very significant. So anything else if you want to ask, we can discuss. talk. So can we move ahead? So we will talk about the midbrain. I have a very good self-prepared notes of this where parts of brains are written in a tabular manner. So post this lecture, I will share this. You people can refer that. That's a quite advanced version. So there is midbrain or mesencephalon. It is just located between thalamus, hypothalamus, and pons. Not pons, huh? It is pons. Actually, its good name is pons varioli. But if you want to remember, at least mention pons, because many times students in their answer sheets write pons. They must have using the pons powder, but it's pons. Anyways, so there is a canal which is called cerebrus aqueduct. It is passing through midbrain, and midbrain is the smallest part of the brain. It is basically made up of 4 round lobes, and as they are 4 in number and they are responsible for vision and auditory reflexes, we call them corpora quadrigemini. Corpora because corporate kind of work they do, vision and auditory. And as they are 4 in number, that's why we call them corpora quadrigemini. Okay, so the outer pair is responsible for visual reflexes, and the posterior pair will be responsible for the auditory reflexes. So I wish to show you the notes I prepared. So basically, it is present at the cerebral peduncle, and this is also part of the midbrain. Cerebral peduncle is the part which is having gray matter, and it is called red nuclei. Why? Because generally in brain, gray matter is present outside and white matter is present inside. But this specific part of midbrain have some amount of gray matter. That's why it can be demarcated quite well. And this cerebral peduncle is responsible for skilled muscular movement. For example, how many of you know how to make roti? Great people you people are. So once first time when you started preparing, it must be map of any country. But now even with talking you can prepare. I have उसमें ध्यान नहीं लगानी पड़ती है. Skilled muscular movement while driving the vehicle. So brakes and all these things we don't have to think. So skilled muscular movement is for all art. आप देखना जो लोग मेहंदी लगाते कितना फटाफट लगाते, हम लगाने जाएंगे हाथ में दर्द हो जाएगा. They do it seamlessly because their hands and others are having skills. So that is done by this, controlled by this part. And as I said that the upper part, which is known as superior colliculi, is responsible for visual reflex, and the part which is lower, that is inferior colliculi, is responsible for auditory reflex. So that is about midbrain. Now we will go towards the hindbrain, and hindbrain is the last part of our brain. So you can see the hindbrain over here. In this image, you can clearly see the parts of hindbrain mentioned. So it has pons, as I said that it is also called pons varioli. It has cerebellum, not drum. Okay, which has similarity with cerebrum. That's why usko pet name diya gaya hai, cerebellum. And last is medulla oblongata. And midbrain and hindbrain, both of them are responsible to form the brain stem. Because from this brain stem, the spinal cord is arising. Okay, so first part, that is cerebellum. It is also known, as I said, as little cerebrum. So it also has a convoluted surface, and it is responsible to maintain the equilibrium of body. So posture, equilibrium, muscular activities. Why? What is the meaning of posture? Chakkar kha ke hum nahi girta, because our cerebellum is alone. Okay. So the next part is the pons. As I said, it is also known as pons varolii. So this has fibers. Basically, it is a place which is called relay center, because various nerves coming from brain will be going to spinal cord, and various nerves coming to brain is coordinated at this area, and it is responsible for regulation of respiration. Our respiration is controlled by this part, and it is responsible to control the activities of eyes and ears. So can you imagine this? All of you must be thinking that how difficult. So I was saying, okay, so many things brain does. Okay. So now we will go to very important part of our brain, although it is very small, but very important. Why? Because it is the part which is connecting brain with spinal cord. यहाँ अगर एक छोटी सी छेद हो जाती है, if that anything can be inserted through that pore and connection between brain and spinal cord is discontinued, a person can die. And it is almost impossible to detect how the person died. Okay, so don't try something, because if you try to do, you will not be able to find that point, and the person will wake up and beat you. कर क्या रहा है बे मेरे कंधे पे तू? So it is connecting spinal cord, and it is responsible to control almost all involuntary activities like respiration, cardiovascular reflexes, gastric secretion, peristaltic movement, salivation, vomiting, sneezing, coughing, all involuntary activities controlled by medulla oblongata. Okay, so that is about the brain. So I know you must be thinking कि मैम ये कोई कैसे याद रख सकता है? As a tribute to your brain, use your brain to remember the activities and parts present in brain. You will use your brain only. So while remembering, remember which part is major storage for memory. See? So this is the way you need to remember it. Okay. So now we will talk about the spinal cord. So spinal cord is located into neural canal. So what is the neural canal? How many vertebra we have? 7, total I got. Cervical, thoracic, lumbar, so all these vertebral column except the last two, which is not having that shape, is forming a canal, a hollow canal. They are aligned one after another to form a canal, which is known as neural canal. And the continuation of brain, that is called spinal cord, which is a rope-like structure, is present inside this spinal canal or neural canal. Meninges also continues from brain to spinal cord. The way meninges is covering brain, it is there. CSF also is present there. And only difference is here the white matter will be present outside and the gray matter will be present inside. Okay. So what is the function of spinal cord? It is responsible for conduction of impulse. So brain is doing that, no? Why we need spinal cord for this purpose? Because brain's reachability cannot be to every part of the body. That's why we require some extension of brain. Apart from that, spinal cord is responsible for it is very much responsible for reflex action. You know about reflex action, we will talk later in this lecture. So it is, this reflex action is controlled by the spinal cord. With we successfully completed the central nervous system. Only we studied about the central nervous system. Now we will talk about peripheral nervous system. There are nerves. First of all, there are 12 cranial nerves. Cranial nerves are coming out of working cranial nerve, Kushi, cerebrum, amygdala, hippocampus, all working. Great. So cranial nerves are 12 in number. These are olfactory nerve, optic nerve, oculomotor nerve, trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear, glossopharyngeal, vagus, accessory, and hypoglossal. Each of them have their unique function. You need to remember these 12 nerves. आई बॉल का मोशन में हेल्प कर. Trochlear is controlling the facial. Trochlear, trigeminal, all of them are controlling facial expressions. This is related to auditory sensation. Vagus is responsible for internal organs control. Same is with accessory and hypoglossal. Okay, so we will move ahead. If we talk about the nerve fibers of PNS, that is peripheral nervous system, There can be afferent fibers which are known as sensory. They are called afferents because they are carrying impulse from sense organ to the central nervous system. And another is efferent or motor fibers which are carrying impulse from CNS to muscles. So apart from these two division of motor and sensory, they can be further subdivided into somatic and autonomic nervous system. Somatic is responsible for direct coordination with muscle, and we can control the activities of somatic. For example, when I am speaking, moving my head, saying hands up, somatic nerve is working. Autonomic nervous system is the one which is connected to smooth muscles. So their activities we cannot control. So do you think they are controlless? पागलों की तरह अपने तरीके से चलते जाते हैं. Autonomous nervous system can be further subdivided into sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic nerves are those nerves which will increase activity of a nerve, increase heartbeat, increase breathing rate. Parasympathetic are different. So their coordination is there to do that. So if there is a stress situation, a dog is running behind you to bite. So at such situation, suddenly your heartbeat, your breathing rate, arteries, ventricles, veins constrict so that blood pressure can increase. All these are done by sympathetic nervous system. Now, in case of parasympathetic, when we don't have such situation, body is at normal condition, parasympathetic brings down the activity of sympathetic nerve. Okay, so there are visceral nervous system. So what is this viscera? I taught you the difference of the definition of viscera. So organs present in our body cavity is known as visceral organs. So there are nerves, there are fibers, there are nerve ganglion. So when many neurons cluster, we call them nerve ganglion. And there can be plexus of nerve. What is plexus? If there is branching of neurons, we call that part as a plexus. Okay. So one neuron is not responsible for formation of a plexus. If there is one center point and many nerves are coming out of that, we call them plexus. Okay. So they are responsible for CNS control. So with this, we will stop here today. Now, next lecture, we will talk about reflex action. Then we will talk about sense organs present in our body. So I hope by this Friday, we will be able to complete this chapter. Okay. So today up to this only. Anyone, any doubts? Till this? So, bye to all of you.